November is the time Australian music gets to shine, with AusMusicMonth celebrated across the ABC. So who's big at the moment, and how are we doing overall when it comes to promoting local artists?
There's no place I'd rather be.
Hey, I'm Amanda. Please subscribe and leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you. Over the next week, AusMusicMonth will culminate with the J Awards on Friday and the ARIA Awards on Wednesday. Triple J's J Awards have been running since 2005, and this year there are 4 categories for the Best Australian Album, Double J Artist, Unearthed Artist and Music Video.
But I will not apologise for taking up this space.
10 acts are up for the big one, Album of the Year. Amy Shark, Courtney Barnett, Camp Cope, DMAs, Hockey Dad, Middle Kids, Ocean Alley, Polaris, Rufus Du Sol and Tash Sultana. And there's a bit of crossover with the ARIA Album of the Year nominees. Amy Shark and Courtney Barnett are in there too, alongside Gurumul, Panyao and Troye Sivan. Shark's been recognised for an outstanding year. She's received the most ARIA nods with 9 overall, including Song of the Year for I Said Hi. Barnett's up for 8 ARIAs and Panyao 7. So while we're spending time revelling in our local music scene this month, how much is it actually supported by the mainstream? The ABC plays the highest proportion of Australian music of any broadcaster across all its networks. In the past year, more than half of Triple J's playlist has featured Aussie artists. Its self-imposed quota is 40%. Community radio stations also do their bit. Around 37% of their music is Australian. But it's a pretty different story when you look at commercial radio. They have different quotas according to the station's format, so contemporary hit stations like Nova, Triple M and the Hit Network must play 25% Australian music between 6 a.m. and midnight, and a quarter of that music has to be new. Commercial Radio Australia says its stations reach and sometimes exceed their quotas, and it's praised initiatives like Triple M's own version of AusMusicMonth, Oztober.
This is the Oztober Lunch with Gleeso from the Screaming Jets.
But there's been some research suggesting many stations don't hit their targets or play most of the required content between 11 p.m. and midnight, falling well outside the peak listening hours of 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
What do you mean?
ARIA wants us to take a leaf out of Canada's book when it comes to airplay, due to its similar population and music market size.
And I know when that hotline blink, that can only mean one thing.
There, all stations must ensure that 35% of the music they broadcast is local, and commercial stations have to play that same percentage of Canadian content between 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday to Friday. So, is there a correlation between Australian airplay and wider popularity with listeners and consumers? The ARIA charts are still the main source of tracking a song and album's popularity. They look at physical retail sales as well as streaming activity. So if you look at this week's charts, just 4 Australian artists are in the top 50 singles, led by Dean Lewis. This week's iTunes chart has 10 local acts, but the makeup is a bit different. Here, Youngblood by 5 Seconds of Summer is number 1, but it's only number 19 on the ARIA charts. And the latest national radio airplay chart shows that across all commercial stations in our major markets, 10 out of the 40 most played songs were Australian. Usually, the Aussie artists that appear on all these different lists are signed to major American record labels. The numbers are slightly better when you look at the annual compilations. In the past 5 years, the highest number of Aussie songs in the ARIA Top 100 was 18 in 2015. And when it comes to albums, the numbers usually hover between the mid-20s to mid-30s.
Lead us to a place.
The last time local artists topped ARIA's annual charts was in 2006, when Anthony Calia's version of The Prayer was the #1 song, and Missy Higgins had the top album with The Sound of White. Triple J's Hottest 100 tends to have a much higher proportion of local acts. This year, 65 songs were from Australian artists, one off the record of 66 set in 2016. A House of Representatives Standing Committee is currently conducting an inquiry into factors contributing to the growth and sustainability of the Australian music industry. It's received over 100 submissions so far, and some of the key issues raised have included the need for more commercial radio airplay, increased funding for musicians, more support for live music venues to remain operational, and more local record labels recognised and played to ensure Australian music not only survives, but thrives well into the future. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, and let us know what you'd like to see from ABC News on YouTube.